and economic separation from the United States, a relationship that dates back a century. Instead, he wants to work closer with China and Russia. His officials are now saying that the president didn't really mean it, but some people in the Philippines seem to be thrilled by the idea.
These Filipino protesters are glad their president said he was cutting ties with the United States. In fact, they've come out to demand for him to follow through. But the demonstrators might be in for a disappointment. A day after the president's surprising comments during a visit to Beijing, the Philippine trade minister said Duterte's words had been misunderstood. I think he may have been misinterpreted. Let's just say he used some colorful language. Realistically, you cannot stop transactions. We have a lot of investment ties with the United States. We export and we import. But Duterte's words were clear enough.
America has lost me. And will I realign myself in your ideological flow, and maybe I will also go to Russia to talk to Putin and tell him that there are three of us against the world: China, Philippines, and Russia.
China was quick to issue conciliatory remarks in response to Duterte's comments, stressing the Philippines' right to self-determination, but warning against the return to Cold War thinking. The United States, on the other hand, has described Duterte's rhetoric as troubling.
And our financial correspondent in Frankfurt this week, Janelle Dumalion, comes from the Philippines, and earlier she gave us a glimpse into how the people she knows are reacting to the news.
The general reaction from my circle is one of mystification. While there is some sympathy for the idea of addressing economic overdependence on the United States, nobody I really talk to is very excited about the idea of a pivot to Russia and China. Few people are really convinced that that's the way to go and that would somehow be better for the Philippines. But on a more everyday level, a lot of people are also worried about jobs. A lot of people my age, for example, work in the business process outsourcing sector. 1 million Filipinos work in call centers and data processing centers. And those, of course, are very U.S. driven. That's, of course, a very U.S. business driven sector. So there's general fear and worry all around, I would say, Ben.
That was Janelle Dumalion talking to DW's Ben Fazulan earlier on. Cuba is freezing new licenses for private restaurants in its capital, Havana. The boom in the tourism sector on the island has caused shortages in food supplies since travelers like you want to taste the local cuisine when they're abroad. But the country is still a communist state-run economy, and now the government has taken action.
It started with enterprising Cubans setting up tables in their backyards. Now it's expanded into an industry of hundreds of restaurants popular with tourists. But restaurants in Havana lack a wholesale market, so they empty retail shelves and buy goods on the black market, irking city officials. Restaurant workers say closing them down is not the answer. Many families depend on this, so taking away their license leaves them empty-handed. It's a big problem. Those with 3, 4, or 5 kids will have to look for something else. Officials say they're only going after lawbreakers. We have to remain alert to some people's intentions. The government encourages legal businesses allowed by the state, businesses that work well and provide valuable services. But some could acquire money illegally, in Cuba or abroad, and try to launder it within a legal business. Clampdowns on small businesses are nothing new in Cuba, where the state still controls most economic activity. The government encourages private enterprises, but tries to keep them from becoming too successful and causing wide disparities in wealth. Restaurant owners say wealth isn't the problem. People think that having a business makes you rich from one day to the next, that you become a millionaire and live in a castle. It's not like that at all. The tougher line comes at a bad time, just as the tourist season is about to start.
That was your DW Business Update. Remember, we're always on the web at dw.com/business. I'm Javier Arguedas in Berlin. See you next time. Take care.